Maybe let me start over. Okay, sorry for the bit of glitch around technology. And we are in this modern day, we are completely reliant on technology. So it sometimes doesn't go according to our wish. So I wanted to welcome you all, folks who are watching me online. They missed a few words that I said. So I'm going to repeat. So I felt that I'm extremely fortunate sitting here, trying to give this discourse. And this is not a discourse, it's just I want to share what happened to me and maybe share stories of divine love that I experienced in presence of this, what seems like just a normal human being in flesh and blood. But he touched many of us so deeply. We call a friend of mine just emailed me this morning and he said, "We are fortunate among fortunates." There are, you can see a lot of people who are doing well in this mortal life, and we can call them fortunate to be leading a good human life. But we are really fortunate even to be amongst them. We may not have a great life, may not have wealth, but there is something far deeper that we possess that doesn't just remain in this life, but it continues on and on. Because the person who came in our life, because of whatever reason, maybe our past deeds, luck, fortune, we met this person who gave us assurance that he is going to be with us for not just this life, but the life beyond this. We don't know how many life we are going to have, but he's always going to be with us. So this is something that has touched us, and we are here to celebrate the abundance of shower that happens on this particular day when we celebrate Bhandara. In India, when somebody passes away, they call it Punya Tithi. When somebody is born, it's a Janam Tithi, you are born. Tithi means a date. So the day you pass away, it's for people who are yogis, saints, or even your parents or loved ones. You say it's Punya Tithi. That means an auspicious day. So it is widely recognized even for a normal people who maybe held a good position in government, or maybe slightly spiritual, a good person, who did not do much harm. So we generally recognize that he was a punya or an auspicious soul, punya atma. But a man like him who could match our understanding at any level, he could meet anyone and relate to them. If you are spiritually uh, ahead, he could talk to you at that level. A man like this, he is so much auspicious to be able to, for us to be able to celebrate this day, at least knowing him, being with him, we cannot but think of the time that we have spent, how he held our hands, how he cracked different jokes with us. At different level, he met us. And I have had my share of being with him. And I think I wanted to share a little bit of my experience. It's just an experience of a human being, like many of us sitting in this room, but among fortunate or fortunates, you know, our our stories are unique in our own way. So from a disciple's lens, I just wanted to share things that happened in my life that, looking back, I find it difficult to recognize. And of course, sitting in front of you, I feel his loss. I was just reminding myself that it's been such a long time I saw you in person, physically. Right? I was able to fortunately see him when he was in good health. He was able to walk quite fast. crack jokes, and as his health changed over time till he passed away, I was able to notice the difference, small difference in his physical appearance. Although I loved each one of them, a part of me is still trying to reconcile with the fact that he's gone, and all of us wonder that. And this is as I was saying, it's a auspicious day, Punya Tithi, and by remembering these masters who come amongst in our life, just the fact of remembering, that means we are uniting with them, and where our attention is, the result comes according to that. So I think as seekers who have been so fortunate to have him in our life, I think it's our duty as a disciple to celebrate this day in remembering him and talking about him, sharing stories, and reveling in those times when he was amongst us, and sometimes may not be physically, but we by just remembering him, we found ourselves close to him. So this man, for those who are watching over YouTube, may not know him. This was a man who grew up in India. Towards the end of his career, after taking retirement, he almost uprooted himself from there and came and settled in Chicago. And for next 40 years or 40 plus years, he dedicated himself to serving his master, because his master, great master Huzur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh Ji, you can see his small picture right here, a man dressed in all white or cream color clothes with a white turban and a white beard. We call him Great Master Huzur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh Ji. When I heard this name for the first time, I thought, look at his name. His name is very small, but everything that is attached to his name tries to praise his being. As a human being, we can just see a physical frame. He was 6 feet tall and had a beautiful beard, but we cannot understand what else he could be. And my master, Ishwar Puri Ji, always sang his praise, that he was the greatest master ever lived, according to him, in his experience. So his great master gave him the command, I believe, to come over to West and continue the teaching of Sant Mat. And he had predicted long time back that spirituality is going to shift to West in a big way. And how East has been in the past, always going after spirituality, and was not too much attached to the external world of material comfort. That's going to shift, and the transition is going to happen. People in West are going to look for things beyond material comfort. And so spirituality was supposed to grow here in a big way. And we talked about many souls who have incarnated here, who were in the past in India, in Dera Beas. And they have incarnated here. Ishwarji himself, after retirement, decided to come here and partake in this change of axis of spirituality that is happening. And we can see in our own life how things are sort of crumbling in West. Things are never settled. Now artificial intelligence is there, because of which a lot of jobs, it's feared that a lot of jobs are going to go away. So we can already see some of the transition happen. But to wake up our soul from the slumber that it has been in because of all the material comfort and all the greed, external attachment to things. Now the transition has to happen, inner awakening has to happen. We need to find answers For that reason, Ishwarji came here, spent 40 hours traveling to different places, giving discourses every month or every time there was an opportunity. In fact, I saw him give successive broadcast or satsang to the same set of people. I was working with him in one of the companies, and we were sitting in a room with some of the folks, and somehow the topic changed to from business matter. It changed to spirituality, because most of the people around him were spiritual, and they would just find a reason to bring up the topic, and then Ishwarji used that opportunity to give a short discourse, and we hadn't quite decided for him to give a discourse at that time. So anyway, that was impromptu. It happened, and when the meeting got over, we had already planned for him to give another discourse and set up a chairs, and we had recording being done. So we requested him, would you please give a satsang? And without flinching, he sat down and he gave another discourse for much longer, almost an hour. And I was surprised. I was wondering to myself that this guy never stops. He can talk about spiritual matters anytime, happily, and he enjoyed life. I saw him enjoy food. I saw him talking to people. I saw him just casually sitting, spending hours. As I was saying, I got to see him in business settings uh, for a decent amount of time. Although I lived in California, I would travel here, and whatever time I got, I would try to spend with him. So we had a business meeting, and in the business meeting, he started talking about stories of Sawan Singh Ji and the famous stories, with the veterinarian Ishwar Singh Ji, and we started crying in that meeting. And once that, once he recounted the story and we were all crying, we thought, okay, just to change the subject now, let's take him out for lunch. Let's ask him if he would want to go for lunch with us, because the business meeting was already concluded. And so we asked him, and he said, yeah, let's go. And so this was probably 2-3 o'clock, and we went to a Thai restaurant, bunch of us, and we had 3 hours of lunch and just casually talking about various things, teasing each other. And Ishwarji was witnessing everything. He was participating in it. He was telling a lot of stories about how different soups, how the soups change across continents, he and how different kind of dresses are worn, uh, sometimes, how the colors remain across different communities, even though they are separated by distance, long distance. I remember one time he was at our house, and we had just told him that we had gone to Peru, and we showed some pictures of how Peruvians dressed. And he said, this is exactly like people in Bhutan and Nepal, the color combination, the pattern, so it seems like he had a wide variety of knowledge because of different experiences Great Master took him through. We in fact commented when he was at our house that how is it that you know so much, different kind of not only just knowledge, but he was a homeopath. He was, of course, bureaucrat, and now he's doing spiritual work. He could talk on any subject, and he said, "You won't believe, Great Master took me through so many things. He made me do that." He used a phrase in Hindi. Unhone, so I'm going to say it in Hindi and then translate it. That he made. Unhone itne papad belwaye. Papad is like a crispy thing that you eat. So implication is that when you make papad, it's hard thing to do. It's a dough that you make it flat and roast it. and it's a little spicy in taste. You can fry it also. So it's a colloquial term in India. That means you have to do very difficult work. So he was implying that great master put him through different kind of work to get him ready, and because of that reason, he's able to talk on variety of subjects, and he's so rich because of his experience that his great master put him through, and he never lost an opportunity to give everything, credit of everything that was happening in his life to his great master. And we got a chance to spend a little bit of time with him in London. There were things happening in my life. I was uh, like most of us, we had our own jobs, and sometimes very stressful job, sometimes very political jobs. So I was working as a computer engineer and dealing with a lot of uh, you know not so good things in personal life, and uh, in the workplace, and I was extremely stressed out, and I wanted to just find a reason to get away from everything that was chaotically happening in my life. And by then I had met Ishwarji and had got initiated, and I was thinking how I can get away. And it was summertime, and it so happened that our attention at the time was always riveted on him. And we thought, okay, summer is coming. I wonder what Ishwarji is doing in summer. And so we went to ishanews.org and checked out the events. And we saw that he's making a trip to Europe. And a thought came in my mind that what if we could also go to Europe, and spend, maybe hearing him give discourse. And anyway, we wanted uh, to see Europe. So maybe we can combine various things and go see him. And so when I checked the calendar on Isha News, it was just a week away that he was going to go. And we didn't have any time to prepare for it. And I didn't even know where it was going to be held, all the programs. And I somehow remembered a story of Ishwarji talking about going on vacation with his master, traveling in train, spending multiple days, and going to his uncle's place in, I believe it was in Karachi. And so it just flashed before my eyes. And I thought, what if I could have the similar opportunity, to spend some time, as he's traveling? Can I have that? And but I didn't want to be a burden on him by tagging along, just forcing myself. Uh, but you know, so I decided not to ask uh, for such things. But I kept thinking about it, and my wife finally said, "Why don't you just ask? Who knows what will happen?" So reluctantly, I just sent him a mail, and then very quickly I got a response back. Yes, Jagannath, come along. I'm going to send you details. And I got the details, and I was so excited. I jumped on the laptop and did an online booking of the hotel that he was staying at. And after a few days, I get a call from UK saying that I want to speak to Jagannath. And I said, yeah, this is Jagannath. So you had made a booking at this hotel for a month. Do you want to stay for a month? I said, no, sorry. I meant 3 days, not 30 days, And I didn't even look at the cost for it. It was, I remember, close to £5,000. So I was in such a hurry to get it done with, so that all obstacles are gone, because I was so excited to be, uh, given a green light to join him. And so it was just a week away, and then we booked our flights, and we reached London, and I get a mail from him. He mentioned that, okay, you must have taken a long journey, and so I want you to rest, and we'll see you soon. And so that was great to hear that, okay, he's paying attention to us. He he cares about us, small things, sort of you see, experience that, okay, this person not only talks about these things, but he actually walks the walk. You see him do that in your personal life, and that really touched me. And so next day comes the day of the event in London. It was fantastically organized, and it so happened that there were so many people in the room that it exceeded the capacity of the room itself. And so the organizations were not letting anybody else come in, and at the last minute, Ishuji somehow. So when we tried to register, uh, the the organizers just refused us, even though Ishuji had given permission for us to attend. So we had to go back and forth, and Ishuji intervened, and finally, we were allowed in. And we saw a sea of people, almost, a large room, 300, 400 people. We just didn't know anybody back then. And so we were waiting for him to arrive at the venue, and somebody calls us our name, and this was a big room, and people were always chatting, and we hear somebody make an announcement that is there anybody from California? And it didn't even register to us, that our thoughts were completely in a different place. We were excited about him showing up on the podium and could have his grace glance. And so this person repeated it multiple times. Then we realized that, okay, maybe they're talking about us. So we raised our hand. Yeah, we are from California. And then this person said, okay, step out. And so that happened, and then we went back to our place, and then again he rushes back and says, Jagannath, come out, Ishwaji wants to see you. Wow, really? Okay. So we all run out of the room, and then Diana is there, and they take us to where Ishwaji was. He was sitting in a car. I remember it's a white car, and he was just looking at his phone, probably reading his emails. And we rushed towards him to greet him, and I saw that he's sitting on the driver's seat. I said, why is he driving? But I then realized that, okay, he's in United Kingdom, and where the seating positions are different. So he was actually sitting on the passenger seat that happened to be driver's seat in US. So I of course was on the wrong side, and I wanted to touch his feet. So in India, for anybody who is senior, especially yogis, mahatmas, saints, it's a custom. It's sort of ingrained in us from the beginning to to teach somebody to touch somebody's feet. It was just an automatic reaction, So I also grew up like that. When my uncles would come, just we were taught to touch the feet. But as you grow up, this loses meaning because you understand the flaws of different, even older folks, and then you pay less attention to that. But for people who are spiritually inclined, you never lose the opportunity to touch their feet and get the blessing. You don't know in what form the blessings would come. If somebody may be charlatan, somebody may be a fake guru, but you don't know, you can't tell. So you take your chance that, okay, there's nothing to lose by touching somebody's feet and asking for grace. Maybe the grace will come in a different form. So you are always ready. So that was my attitude as well. So I would never lose a chance to touch his feet and ask for grace. But in this attempt, he was sitting on the other side, so I had to, took me a few seconds to realize that he's sitting on the other side. And I quickly, made my way, turned around, and went to the other side and touched his feet. But before I did that, he shook my hand. I still remember the feeling that I had in my hand, and I felt how he has changed over time, how frail he was. And he said few things that that showed his sincerity. He said, Jagannath, the mail that you sent me, it really touched my heart, and uh, everything that you said, and now you have become a part of my dream now. And sitting here reflecting back, everything that he said, in that time and the following time when I got a chance to meet him, it seems so surreal. Everything comes to be coming true slowly, definitively, uh, and and he welcomed us, in that way. It was so personal. He didn't have to do that. You know, I feel that it's it's hard to express when you feel touched in your heart, right? When you see what a true love is, you know, and so I was referring to divine love. We experience different kind of love in our life. Love of our parents, uh, love of child, spouses, siblings, but uh, you can differentiate this, a different kind of love that you experience that comes unconditionally. Uh, you have admiration for somebody, there is something different about this person. I was not a seeker initially. I didn't think that I was a seeker at all. But after finding him on YouTube and getting mesmerized by his wonderful lectures that lasted few hours, and what started out with a variety of topics always converged on love and devotion and unconditional love, and talking about a human experience, how it is different from other experiences. In fact, other human beings also. Being fortunate among fortunates is part of that experience where you feel unconditional love from your beloved master. And this is unique about us. And so I was able to feel that, not only silently, but also through his action, his words. Because probably, if he had said it silently, it would not register. It would not have registered in my heart or mind. I would always be questioning. We always have this mind that questions all the time. So I could dismiss it as, oh, this is something that just I felt. There's no proof of that. But when somebody tells you explicitly that they love you, they care about you, they ask whether you're fine, they send you uh, happy birthday greetings. Who are we to have any attention from him? Yet this man, I remember one time I got a text on my birthday, happy birthday Jagannath. I was so taken aback. This man, receives thousands of mails every day, yet he's able to make this uh, special for me. He's taking time from his busy schedule to give me that time. And so, and I used to wonder all the time, uh, when uh, when I got introduced to him through YouTube. A lot of things made sense to me. A lot of things that he talked about, different levels of creation, and hearing some of the explanation for the first time, it amazed me that, okay, I was in India, but somehow I never got a chance to get exposed to this kind of thinking, that spiritually could be so simple or so simply explained. Every time I got interested in spiritual matters or occult matters, it seemed too difficult to get through. There were tons of jargons to understand, a lot of Sanskrit words. But here is a person who didn't assume anything. He said anybody can have a spiritual uh, uh, experience. We just need to go inside, and we don't need to rely on any books. We are this ability to find our true self exists in every human being. Doesn't matter where you're born, doesn't matter your age. You could be old, you could be young. A very young man or a young boy, 8, 9 year old, can start practicing as long as he can understand. So there was no boundary. I felt so. Growing up in India, you feel different kind of barriers that, okay, you are only allowed to practice certain things if you are born in a special circumstances. But here is a man who is completely uh, breaking down all the boundaries. In fact, this is nothing new for Sant Mat. Sant Mat had always said that being a human being is a very special thing, special gift. We just need to know how to use some of those gifts to find our true self. We all have free will. We all can seek. We all can use our attention that has been gifted to us as a human being. We can make deliberate actions. We can practice meditation. We can seek whether we want right things or wrong things. We can make judgment on various things that we participate in. So we have this special ability and we can use that. Sorry, I lost my thought. So, growing up in India, I always found it challenging to understand the matter, where Ishwarji, it opened it up for everybody, right? We could all relate to what he was saying. At least for some of us, it was very readily accepted in the way he explained everything, using your attention to go behind your eyes, and at least in theory, everything sounded good. But some of the theories in India, using the normal practices, normal let's say religious or spiritual practices, it's very hard to get understanding of. So I found it uh, so clarifying, so freeing to hear his lectures and admire and practice what he taught. And this man who could talk on any subject was, willingly, happily accepting us and spending time with us. And so he would send, birthday wishes sometimes to us. So he gave special love. So as a part of human being or part of human experience, receiving this love is so unique. And I've seen a lot of people now in this role that I get to interact with a lot of satsangis, how they are pulled by the love they experienced. This is not a common love that we experienced amongst our other circumstances, being with siblings, parents. We know there is always a friction that happens, but this man doesn't care about what the differences are. He will accept us at our own level. And I used to feel a little bit low about myself while growing up, that I do not know much about spirituality. Maybe I'm not fit for this path. I don't even, nobody can explain to me. People just recite things, but you can feel that there is no sort of deeper understanding in that, and everybody seems to recite the same things uh, as if they have read from the book. But this man didn't have to use any material. He can just give a talk on anything. I heard one time that he was talking for 6 days uninterrupted, and he was known for his talks. People in this life recognize that this man can talk on any subject. And in fact, his great master, Huzur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh Ji, he had said that in the previous life also he was giving lectures. So it is not surprising that this man has accumulated such a vast knowledge over time. And it is also said, probably he confessed in his talks as well, that at early age, he felt that he was very old. So just imagine he had that level of consciousness, awareness, that across the lives he is able to remember or feel who he is, even though he is in a different body, but yet he has the feeling as if he is continuing that prior life. So it's very hard for us common beings to sort of fully understand who this person was. But we didn't have to really understand because he got down to our level and he interacted with us. So I was able to get touched by some of the love that he expressed. And as I was saying, I used to sometimes feel that, I cannot understand what this love is, because I was using my mind to understand it, and I would, like many of us who are pulled by him, we constantly think about him. And so I used to also think about his lectures, what he said, and would always ask, what is this thing you talk about, love and devotion? I was trying to mentally understand it. Uh, Once I got initiated by him, that was my frustration that, I would attend the meetings and I would see people crying, including my family. And I just would not understand, why do you have to make such a drama out of this? He's just a old man giving a talk. Don't make a fuss. Don't. But he sometimes would explain that, people who are seeing him for the first time, they cannot control themselves. Right? Maybe a sigh of relief from the soul comes out, and they cannot hold themselves. They cry. Yeah, I experienced that. Being in his presence, that other folks were reacting in that way, and I would ask myself, how come I don't feel anything? And I would have a conversation in my head that, does it make sense? What is it? And I would find myself listening to that part of the lecture, and emphasizing about that many a times, that the practice of meditation, through which you find yourself, that is great. That's a start, but ultimately you need love and devotion to find yourself truly who you are beyond this different covers that we are wearing. So of course, as a seeker, uh, as a disciple who is trying his best to practice, using all his strength, to getting up in the morning 3 o'clock and trying and failing miserably. And so I would used to get stuck in this, love and devotion. And I, I was asking in my heart that, show me what it is. And somehow he heard that. This took some time. I realized that, I'm not a easy thing to, change. I compare myself as a rock. Even now, it's very hard to make indentation on a rock. You have to keep pouring maybe jets of water to cut it. So I thought it's going to take a long time. And indeed he mentioned that to me as well. Yeah, when we met for the first time, in Southern California, in Huntington Beach. I still remember the first time I was able to see him. He was, these are some of the memories that you hold on to, because he's not physically around, and that is the only thing we have, memory of him. Um, so I saw him uh, get out of a car, and then leading up to the event in Southern California, we experienced so many coincidences, and that we were amazed that we were running a bit late from the hotel we were staying in, and as we were driving, we realized that, okay, this part of Southern California is quite busy. There were a lot of traffic lights. There was a lot of traffic. So we thought, no matter how we try to get ready in time, we can't make it in time. The situation was such. But as we started driving, we found that we were hitting all green lights, even though there was so much traffic. And in fact, there was a satsangi later. He recounted his story. He said that he found the same thing. He started late, but then he continued getting all green lights. And then he ran into a red light, and then he wondered what happened. And then he was supposed to go right at that light. That's why the light was red. And so we found ourselves in the similar thing, and we were just marveling at different coincidences that we found ourselves in. And so when we had our first meeting, he mentioned to me that you're going to take a bit of time. So and so I can completely see that now. That it took me a long time to understand what love and devotion is at a level of mind. But I also realized that it cannot be understood. Because this is different dimension. You just have to feel it. You have to be blessed by it, and it's you cannot control it. It's not something that happens out of your volition. You just have to remain open, and seek. And so I was able to spend some time in Europe with him, and he of course, the car event where I was able to meet him, and he said, "You are now part of my dream." So that really, shook me, and I, I immediately felt that how much he is caring for us, and he asked me to exchange where we are staying, the room number, and so on. And the same evening, I get a call, and this person started speaking, and he's saying, "Okay, I talked to some of my friends. These are the good restaurants. Which restaurants would you like to go to, and at what time?" And I was wondering, who's this guy calling me? And just asking for restaurants. I was not at all prepared. It took me a few seconds to realize that this is how Ishwiji sounded on the phone, and which was different from, when you hear him give a talk. So I came into my senses then, and then my mind was racing, trying to think which options to pick at what time. I just, I could barely remember one name, of the choices that he had given. So I said, "Okay, let's go there," and I picked a time, and so after that I kept the phone down, and told my family that, "Okay, we are going." This was Ishwiji that called, and so I immediately, got into action somehow. I called the hotel, made the reservation, restaurant, called and made the reservation. This is so unlike me. Normally, I don't get up from my chair. If I'm sitting with my laptop, that's where I'll be for hours. And this was a different me. Something told me to, move my butt and make a reservation. And not only that, I called Uber and booked the Uber at the time we had decided. So normally I barely had a Uber app, but in preparation for going to Europe, I thought, okay, maybe this service will be needed, and that came very handy. And so at that appointed time, we got a chance to meet Ishwaji and Toshiji, and Ishwaji was, very appreciative of the fact that I had already made the arrangement. I'd already booked. He said, "Oh, you have already booked the Uber. That's good." And it was drizzling a bit, so we had also, carried umbrella. And so anyway, we got into Uber, and then he started asking about, uh, how does this Uber service work? Because he had apparently $15 gift card for Uber, and he wanted to use that. So I'm thinking, look at this man. He could talk about anything, and he's talking about these small things. And he's having a conversation with me. And he even remarked that, he had just his teeth taken out, and whether I was able to understand him, because there was a whistling sound coming apparently. So was that bothering us, and were we able to, understand him properly? So and we said, of course we can. And we went to this restaurant, And as we got down, I saw a lot of people waiting outside the restaurant area, and my heart immediately sank. That how will I accommodate these, senior people? Ishiji was frail at the time. This was 2017, and and Toshiji also, so I cannot make them wait outside, because a lot of people are just standing around, and it was drizzling, and so my heart sank. What should I do? I got little courage, and I went inside and went to the counter and said, "I've made a reservation. Can you see if our table is there?" And Ishuji was right behind me, and this man said at the counter, "Yes, sir, your table is ready." You know, I was so taken aback. We just showed up. I walked to the counter, and everything is done. And I sort of felt that, man, this guy who is behind you, if he has your back, nothing can stop you. And I felt like the scene in a movie, I guess Ten Commandments, where the whole sea parts away and Israelites from Egypt, make it across to the other side. So I just had a feeling like that. And then table was there, we sat and we exchanged a lot of stories. We were, me and my wife and my son, they were like small kids. We were talking about our various experiences. We had just been to Peru, and the whole everything, every time that we spent with the family there, we were uh, narrating different stories about the civilization over there, cultures, and he was listening attentively, and but he didn't say much, because ladies were talking, and then we didn't want to interrupt. So, but I was also acting like a child, I was also trying to inject myself in between the conversation. And we knew that Ishuji liked this uh, Indian dish called dosa. And it's a crepe, and it's filled with potato, spiced potato fillings. And he used to enjoy that. So, my wife knew that. And so immediately she ordered a dosa for Ishwaji. And the waiter said, "Sorry, sir, ma'am, the dosa is not available." He checked in the kitchen, and then the dosa wasn't there. So he kind of got disappointed, and my wife actually got a little upset. That, what do you mean it's not available? Anyway, the waiter had checked in the kitchen. Anyway, we accepted. We ordered some alternate dish, and when everything came, dosa also came along with that. So from no, it became yes. So we're just enjoying, every little thing that was happening around us in his presence. Starting from, uh, automatically getting the table, parting of the sea, getting the dishes that we want, and sharing different stories. And so we finally, everything, we finished our dinner, went back to the hotel, and he said, uh, "Let's meet tomorrow early in the morning, 8 o'clock, and we'll have breakfast together." He's so thrilled, man. This man really meant it. And when he first met us in his car, he said, "We are going to spend a lot of time in this trip." So we didn't expect that. We thought we'll just be tagging along, and seeing him meet various people. We didn't think that he would give us a special attention. That's what we felt like, because we just had dinner. Now he wants to have breakfast with us. So sharp 8 o'clock, we go down in the elevator to see him, meet him for breakfast. And he bumps us in the elevator. He's in the elevator, and uh, I guess we were already there, and then he came in. And as we were leaving elevator, I clearly remember I was in the back. Ishwaji, stepped out first, and then he turned around towards me, looked at me, and he said, "Every experience that you had in Peru, you can have that inside your head. You don't need to go to Peru." I was so surprised that he remembered everything, and he's making sure that that I understand that all experiences are held within all of us, and we can have all those experiences. We don't need to go outside. And then we go for our breakfast, and we are like a small child, and there were some satsangis hanging around there, because they saw Ishwaji, and one of them actually commented to me, "Oh, you're a lucky fellow, you're spending so much time with Ishwaji." And we were indeed. And like as little kids, we had just found that uh, that you can have a tea, chai, a masala chai, Indian tea, just in a small packet, a cylindrical packet that comes, and you can, all you need is a hot water, and then you just put one of that packet content, and then you have, ready-made instantaneous chai, uh, the way they prefer in United States and West, instant uh, knowledge and instant things. So you can have that, So we had just discovered a few months back, and then like childs, we were telling Ishwaji, do you want to have Indian chai? Here is this packet. You just put it in hot water, and then so we made one for him, and we were just enjoying it with him, his company. And then he talked so much about his background, and how great master had given him so many opportunities, how he was trying for Indian administrative services, and he had tried a couple of times already, and he could not get through. It is supposedly one of the hardest exams to go through, because millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people apply for just a thousand or two couple of thousand positions. And so these applicants, who prepare at a very high level, there's a severe competition, and it's very hard to get in. Admission rate is less than 1%. So Ishwaji was communicating the difficulty he had. But once great master, his master came to know that he's applying for Indian Administrative Service, and he had given up. He encouraged him to try again. Why don't you, apply once again? Let's see what happens. And it turned out that he got I believe, the second position. And so this is so unlikely that from not getting in, you are now number two. And so because of his high ranking, he was placed in very good Indian administrative positions. Uh, he he when he was doing his service, he was placed in far off regions of India. He was he got an opportunity to meet Dalai Lama when he was serving in this position. And in fact, we used this incident where he talked about uh, meeting Dalai Lama as next opportunity that we got to serve him when he came to our house in California. We decided to book a Range Rover for him, just to remind him, because as a part of stories, he used to tell that he had a Land Rover in I think the place is called Dharamshala, where he met His Honorable Dalai Lama. And so we wanted to recreate some of those stories. So, I made sure to get a very fancy car, and what other car is, can I get him then, something similar. So I got him a luxurious car, and wanted to recreate that. So he shared some of those stories in London with us, and how great masters blessing gave him so many opportunity. He put him through various roles in India. He was I believe he was teaching. He was a professor in some college. He was a very high level bureaucrat. He was serving governor of one state, and he was even a personal secretary to one prime minister. And so he had held extremely good positions. And he also said that once he came here and he was giving lectures, how people would, uh, when you are giving a discourse, or you are being invited into college or universities or places where people sort of make sure that you will be able to give your lecture properly. They have a high standard, so they expected him to carry a note or something before he would give lecture, and then without the notes, they would not give him his lecture. You know, immediately as soon as he was about to step into podium, they would ask him, where are your notes? Where's your paper? And he would say, what paper? They say, oh, you must have written something down, otherwise what are you going to talk about? And so he started just carrying a empty piece of paper, that didn't have anything scribbled, written down. So they would be just happy that, okay, he's carrying some note with him. And he would relay these, he would share some of these anecdotes. So we felt that we were very, personally attended to. And he also asked a very curious thing, that what is it about my lecture that you like? And thought that's a strange thing to ask, because he, before us, he must have met so many people, and he knows that his talks are very influential, it make a mark in our heart. Yet he wanted to, hear individually from us, what is it that we liked, and we gave our own version of, what we loved about his lecture. And the meeting gets over. We spent almost an hour just sharing breakfast, making tea for him, and he said that, okay, now I need to leave because I have a one-on-one meeting with satsangis. So why don't you come and join us? And we were thinking, we just had 1 hour meeting, and you're calling us for another 2 hour one-on-one meeting. Sorry, 2-minute one-on-one meeting. I thought, what's the point of that? We had 1 hour meeting, whatever we had to talk, we talked. Yet he wanted us to come for just 2-minute meeting. But he, we said, of course, we'll come, he's asking for it. So we got another opportunity to see him in a different setting, there, he was very personal, and, with my wife, it was sort of a family discussion also, a little spiritual. So he was able to talk at a very personal level. And so the whole trip, and so once we left London, we wanted to go see Europe, and we went off to Bezilu after that, actually Girona, that's where he was staying. And then we got to see him again there. And we were waiting in the hotel premises, and we saw Ishwarji walk in with some other folks, and we greeted him, and he started asking questions. When did you flew in? We told him, Ishwarji, we didn't fly, we took a train. And then he was very curious about train, the route that we took. And we started making plans that maybe we should next time, if we get a chance to be with Ishwarji, we should take him on train. We should, like the way he used to go with Great Master back in India, we would have so much time for ourselves. We in fact were cooking plans towards his life, that maybe, we'll ask him to, take us to Bias. We'll maybe have a plane, we'll charter a plane, and maybe few of us can just fly with him. That way we can hear so many stories, that he doesn't get chance to share all of it during Bhandaras. And because of his life rich experience, we can hear so many more stories. I remember attending Bhandaras just for stories, because stories is somehow, this is even an Indian tradition, Mahabharata, Ramayana, these are full of stories. And as a young boy, small child, we all used to gravitate towards these stories that always somehow register in our head. But if it was some kind of lecture that is heavy, you would not retain it. So somehow story form is always the ones, it is apparently known through civilizations. That's why all you hear is stories, not so much as knowledge. but knowledge that is embedded within stories, that somehow human mind finds it easy to retain that kind of information. So we wanted to have, I would attend Bhandaras, multiple days of Bhandara whenever I could, just to hear stories. And, and I was also able to sometimes get his grace along the way, fill my cup, hearing stories, crying at the stories, and also, uh, had my personal experiences during those days, personal attention from him. Sometimes I had to go back early uh, because I was working full time, and it was hard for me to take multiple days off because of my responsibilities. So he would somehow find out that I'm just here for a day, and then he would make sure to give me prasad earlier. He would call me in the back of the room and would hand me prasad and said, "I'm giving you prasad, great master's prasad. Share it with your family." So I felt that kind of attention, and the question that I always had, that what is this love and devotion? I saw, you know, this sort of stone being chiseled away uh, along the way. In Girona, we got to see him, uh, many times. In fact, he would be having lunch or dinner. We would just be walking, and then we would find that, okay, Ishiji is sitting inside the restaurant. We would wave, at him. And in Bezalu, we got to see him, hear his lecture. When it came time to say goodbye, we had so much difficulty because we were gonna go off on our vacation, and Ishwiji was gonna continue going to a few other places. And we almost started, as it came time to say goodbye to him. Uh, we said that, Ishwiji, we'll take care of you. We want to take care of you. Somehow it felt, my wife felt that he was in need, and he needed our help because we could see physically him changing, with his tooth missing, and I think his knee had been operated on, one knee, and so being so now attached to him, having received so much attention, we also felt like giving back. That was part of, in a way, uh, divine love happening, a devotion happening in our heart. So we got into a fight. He said, "I'm going to take care of you guys," and we are saying that, "No, we will take care of you." And he had few things in his hand, chocolate that somebody had given him. He gave it to us. We were able to feel that, sort of fatherly love, spiritual fatherly love, in a human form, and we realized that he's quite different from many people who say one thing but do something else. But outward experiences uh, validated some of the inner experiences that also he blessed me with, and I had narrated it sometimes, so maybe this is the last story I will share with you. This was early on, even before I had met him, and so I'd just seen him through YouTube videos, and all my thought was always gravitated towards him, thinking about him, hearing the stories, and one night I see this dream that that kind of communicated to me who this person was. And so I see this dream. It's quite vivid, colorful. Some people call it astral dream. I mean, I didn't know back then what it was, but it felt to me the quality of this dream was nothing compared to what I'd seen before. So I see this, that as a very young boy, maybe 12, 13-year-old, with just shorts on, upper body naked. I'm in some kind of a village setting, and I'm standing next to a unpaved road, and there's a lot of music going on, a lot of what seemed like a celebration happening. Some kind of Indian instruments are being played, tabla, flute music, different kind of music. And so I tried to figure out where is the sound coming from. And I didn't even realize that I'm dreaming, I'm not myself. Uh, and so I look around and then I see uh, uh, my attention goes towards where the music was coming from. And I see that there's some procession going on. And in this unpaved road, there's a lot of people coming and they're carrying something. And it's quite far away. So I look at that. As I'm looking, the procession comes closer. Now I'm able to make out that there are people, a lot of people in the crowd, and they're pulling something. And so I keep watching it. It comes very close to me, so I'm able to make out people's faces. And there's a huge, sort of like a chariot, and they're carrying a huge statue of Lord Ganesha, the elephant god that you might have seen the pictures of. A lot of Indians in their cars, they put on this statue of Ganesha. So it is, everything starts with Ganesha apparently in the Indian traditions. So if you want wealth, if you want prosperity, you have to start with Ganesha. So it's a very supposedly very auspicious sign. And I didn't relate back then to any of these things, but this just happened. I didn't even know why I'm seeing Ganesha. So anyway, so Ganesha's statue, huge statue, comes in front of me, and I see a huge belly, you know, and so I'm surprised at the what seemed like magnificent belly, majestic belly, and so I'm just admiring it, looking at it, and somehow my view changes, and I get transported inside the belly itself. And it's almost like some Matrix movie, where you are able to peer inside the clothes. You're able to see the threads. So whatever that statue was composed of, I was able to get inside. And then I see a man sitting there, and I recognize this man, and it was Ishwar Puri, who's sitting there in Lord Ganesha. And so within the dream, my instincts kick in. I touched his feet and asked for blessing. And then I wake up in the morning, and I remember this dream. And I'm trying to figure out what is the meaning of this. Of course, I share it with my family, my wife. And so the intensity of the dream, the quality of the dream, the sound that I was hearing, everything sort of relayed something to me that told me that this is no ordinary dream. And I sent a mail to Ishwarji saying that this is what I saw. And I get a reply back. He said that I was happy to see you in the dream. I'll be happy to meet you in person. Kind of acknowledged that dream. And I don't think this dream was just me, my mind cooking up these various things, imagining music being played. So I think that was a sign that he was giving me who he was. He would never say that. He himself said that he was not a master, right? He's just an ordinary human being. But we know in our heart, people who have had his darshan, they felt in their heart, even though their mind was not convinced, but still they got some feeling that this man is not no ordinary man. And I had some of those experiences that told me that this man is unique, and we are truly blessed ones, fortunate among fortunates, being in his company, being able to celebrate this day of Bhandara. So all I can remember from, if I were to synthesize everything that he was here for, as he also used to say that somebody had asked him to write a book, and he ultimately said that I cannot write many chapters or a sentence, but he can only write one word: love. And so I would carry that meaning, and he in fact practiced that. One time he sent me a mail about this divine love and devotion, or experience of the love in form of poetry that probably somebody might have forwarded it to him. but I treasured it, and I treasured it now, and I wanted to share this with you. Uh, so I have it printed, and I love the poetry because this poetry has his name also in that. So I'm going to read it. This is in Hindi, Indian language. I'm going to translate it in English as well. This is called Guru Bhakti. So, love and devotion for your Guru, a master, a beloved Guru. Malik ne kiti daya. The mighty Lord has showered his grace. Rom rom mera khil gaya. My every cell of the body is rejoicing. Jhukna sahaj ho gaya. It has become easy to surrender. Pura Sadguru mil gaya. I have found perfect living master. Guru Mata Pita hai. My master is my mother and father. Guru hi hai Atma. My master is my soul. Guru Antim Chita hai. Found it a little difficult to translate. Antim Chita means last. When you die in India, this practice that there's, you have wood on which you are placed, and they burn that, and your body burns along with that. So, your Guru is that thing, the last resort. So, my existence ends in my master. Guru hi hai Paramatma. My master is the Almighty Lord. Man hai putla vaham da. My mind is misguided. Maya hai agyan ki shakti. Maya, you might be familiar with this word. Maya is attributed for all the illusions that we see. It is supposedly a play that the Lord or the conscious being is dreaming of, and because of this dream, we are seeing all this play happen. And Maya is a playful act that is happening with the dreamer, the ultimate dreamer. So Maya hai agyan ki shakti. Agyan means not having knowledge. Maya is powerful because of lack of true knowledge. Because we are dreaming, we do not know everything that we are experiencing is because of the dream. But in the dream, Maya is so strong that we associate everything that happens with everything that we are experiencing as a part of the dream. And we find that we make a conclusion that this is the only reality, but we don't know we are dreaming. When we wake up, we have the true knowledge. So Maya is powerful because of the lack of the true knowledge. The reality exists, and we consider it reality because we do not have the true knowledge. Guru hai sagar prem da. Master is the ocean of love. Atma hai Guru Bhakti. Soul is love and devotion of master. Guru Bhakti hi ek tantra hai. Devotion to master is the only technique. Guru Bhakti काम da ant hai. Devotion to master is the end of lust. Guru Bhakti hi ek yantra hai. Devotion to master is the only instrument. Guru Bhakti krodh da ant hai. Master is the end of anger. Guru Bhakti hi ek mantra hai. Devotion to master is the only mantra. Guru Bhakti moh da ant hai. Devotion to master is the end of attachment. Guru Bhakti hi ek panth hai. Devotion to master is the only path. Guru Bhakti lobh da ant hai. Devotion to master is the end of greed. Guru Bhakti ek granth hai. Devotion to master is the only holy book. Guru Bhakti ahankar da ant hai. Devotion to master is the end of ego. Guru Bhakti andar bahar hai. Devotion to master is inside and outside. Guru Bhakti daswaं dwar hai. Devotion to master is the 10th door. Guru Bhakti Ishwar naal pyar hai. There is the word Ishwar used here. Ishwar can be taken as the creator. Ishwar is a word that means, the God. In this context, it's very appropriate because for us, literally, Guru Bhakti Ishwar naal pyar hai. love and devotion to Ishwar is devotion to the Creator. Guru Bhakti Naal Jana Us Par Hai. Devotion to Master is going beyond all levels of creation. Guru Bhakti Naal Aaye Mithas. Devotion to Master brings sweetness. Guru Bhakti Naal Mite Har Pyas. Devotion to Master quenches every thirst of the soul, I would say. Guru Bhakti hai Kal da Vinas. Devotion to Master is the destruction of Kal. Guru Bhakti hai Ishwar Vich Nivas. Devotion to Master is surrender to Ishwar. Guru Bhakti Satnal Mel hai. Devotion to Master is divine meeting. Guru Bhakti Malik da Khel hai. Devotion to Master is the play of Almighty Creator. Guru Bhakti hi Prem da Guru Bhakti hai Prem da Khilna. Devotion to Master is the blooming of divine love. Guru Bhakti hai Ishwar da Milna. Devotion to Master is coincidentally meeting Ishwar. So when he sent this poem to me, I thought how fitting it is, and he probably shared this story that when it's an Indian custom that when a child is born, and if you're spiritually inclined, you take it to a spiritual master and have him give your name, Namkaran. So they in different traditions they use different methods. And when Ishwarji was born and it came time to give him a name, the parents had already thought of some name, and it had to do with yoga, I believe. So they had figured out some name, and they take Ishwarji to his master, great master, and so they have a tradition where from the holy book Guru Granth Sahib, they just randomly a party, the guy who chants the holy book, he was asked to. So this is according to the tradition. He was asked to randomly pick a page and take the first letter of the I guess the first stanza that you have, and so party picked that letter and gave it to Great Master, and Great Master said, "No, pick another one." And this is not the tradition. You just go with whatever happens, and then I guess it was letter I. So Great Master said, "Okay, his name is going to be Ishwar." So how fitting that Ishwar can be our master's name as well as representation in Indian word for the Almighty Creator, a God. So I wanted to share this with you, and so I'm so happy that you could join me, and we'll break for lunch, and after that people want to give little tribute to him. People have composed some songs and played music and so on. So we'll get a chance to celebrate it over the Zoom. I hope I'll get a chance to talk to many of you again and share stories of love and have a wonderful celebration and fill our cup of grace and remember this event and remember him. Most masters don't want anything created in their name. One of the masters, Baba Jamal Singh Ji, he didn't want even his picture taken. He said mausoleums or creating temples or buildings, it's not a fitting tribute to your master. The best tribute you can have is remember his message. So although we talk about making a data, which is also important, but what is even more important is remembering the message that he left for us, because he gave almost his life serving his master, and as I mentioned that he would give successive discourses. So we should remember that. I'm glad you all could join me, and we'll continue the celebration in the second half. Thank you.